Yes, welcome back to the 67 Heel Heel channel on YouTube. It's a new week, it's a new month, and I'm delighted to say we've got Jackie McNamara back on with us. Jackie, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. All good.
Good to have you on. John McGinley here as well. John?
Yes, I'm great and grand. It's good to have Jackie back. It's good to be talking about Celtic victory. So, yeah, I'm keen to get into it.
Yeah, a lot's happened since we last sat down and did one of these. We're out of the Champions League for a start, obviously, but we've also got 3 points on the board against Motherwell. We're going to touch on that game with Jackie, and just first of all get your thoughts on the win. Obviously, disappointment in Europe, but good to bounce back with 3 points and 3 goals against Motherwell.
You know, especially after the disappointment midweek, back to winning ways. You know, it wasn't a classic game in any means, but you know they got the 3 goals in the end. But I'd like to have seen more goals.
Yeah, it was obviously a good day for Ajeti, and Klimala played as well. Ajeti getting his second goal, Klimala missing a few chances. What do you kind of make of those two, especially after they were left out in the ill-fated game against Ferencvaros?
Yeah, I thought it was strange. You know, I think it's difficult for strikers and any players, you know, when they're in the periphery to get game time. You know, when Neil had said during the week that they weren't match fit or they weren't ready. You know, I do believe that you could maybe have started one and then bring one on, maybe at half time or even an hour. You know, because that's the best way to get match fitness is by playing matches, and it's going to be very difficult to arrange, you know, bounce games or reserve games because of everything else. You know, so I think you know, I thought maybe they would have started at least one of them against Motherwell. I think you see a difference when they make the changes and more chances, creativity, leaves space for other players to get in the act as well. Whereas I thought the first half it was all played in front of Motherwell, getting behind a couple of times. A great finish from Forrest, obviously, after a great play from McGregor.
Just on the concept of match fitness and stuff, obviously that was Lennon's reasons for not starting either of them in either match. What's the problem here? Do you think that Lennon's just worried that they're not going to see at the match? He's got 5 substitutes to choose from. You know, why isn't he giving them 45 minutes at the start of the game? What goes through a manager's head when he's trying to weigh up match fitness versus the needs of the team?
It's a difficult one, you know. It's like been in that position myself, but I always like to at least play with one striker, out and out striker. You know, I think Christie does well in different positions that he plays, but I think you see it last year as well. You know, with Griffiths, you know, if they're not fit or not playing, it's hard to get up to match speed. It takes a number of games, especially strikers, that they're all about sharpness and getting in there. You know, as you said, even if they started 45 minutes to give everything they had for that 45 minutes for the team, then bring Ajeti on fresh. You know, Kamala's played a few games pre-season that you think he'd be okay for an hour. Then you can bring Ajeti on, which he'd done, but it wasn't for, I think it was 75 or 78 minutes he brought him on, which is not a lot you can do in that space, you know, to change the game.
Aye, there's been a lot made after the defeat against Ferencvaros about Lennon obviously not playing the strikers, and some fans saw his team selection for the game on Sunday and were under the impression that he'd maybe doubled down on that and he was trying to prove a point. Thoughts on that, knowing Neil Lennon as you do?
Yeah, that occurred to me that as well. Looking at it, I thought, you know, it's, you know, Motherwell at home in the league, you should be more than comfortable to start at least one of them and make changes like I thought he might have done. You know, I can see his point there. The game should have been comfortable enough. A couple of bad mistakes defensively. One for a corner, the switch off, and nobody runs out. Apart, I think Brown comes to the ball. The boy has a decent strike. The second one shouldn't happen at any level. Never mind Champions League qualifiers. El Hamid, I think, he had a couple of chances to clear it, and his last attempt was pretty disappointing. And to lose a goal, which essentially puts him out, you know, the Champions League. It was the same in the last few years. Away to AK Athens, poor defensively, it cost them a couple of years ago and last year as well.
Yeah, it's just something that's kind of occurred to me, the fact that we seem to make so many basic errors in European games. Like, you think back to Cluj last season and you think of Simunovic against Copenhagen, and I doubt that the Martin O'Neill team that you played in made that many errors. You had obviously quite a formidable home record, although you maybe did make some more errors away from home in Europe. Why do you think this current team seems to make so many daft errors at the top level of European football? Well, not even the top level, sorry, against, Ferencvaroses and Cluj and teams like that.
I think they're not getting tested the same as what they are at that level. I think you see that. I think you've seen it in the PSG game, the step up in quality. I know it was a friendly, but you see it the first bits of the game, they're through, and think, the concentration level, and that's what it is at the Champions League level, and that's no disrespect to Ferencvaros, but they're not at that level as the teams you want to be playing in the Champions League. But the concentration levels when you get there, any switch off at all and the ball's in the back of your net, that's from experience going to play against Barcelona. I remember the first time the Champions League game there, I nearly scored an OG in the first few minutes of the game. Tracking back, and I just try to match Ludovic Julie's run and sliced it past, and I thought this was going to be a long 90 minutes, and it was. But for 90 minutes you're so focused. I was playing 2 and 3 yards behind our centre backs. I remember watching it back, and it was Steve Archibald talking about it, that I wasn't keeping my line. But if I kept the line, Ludovic Julie would have been in every time, because the way they played, Eto'o was through the middle, and Ronaldinho would get the ball and just do a reverse pass over Eto'o's head for Ludovic Julie just to make a little dart and run that he done in the first minute, which I couldn't catch him. So I had to give myself 2 or 3 yards on him every time. But in the Champions League, as I said, at that level, the players are not getting tested. When they see little flaws there, when they do get it, you see when they got up in that quality. You see in the PSG, especially when they played that, and that was a friendly. Just the concentration, like first goal, get in between the centre half and the right back, one pass.
Yeah. And how important do you think Europe is to these players, Jackie? People talk about how players need European football to stay as competitive in the league as well. Other people say it's a strain on domestic football because you're playing a midweek to weekend schedule. Do you think they need that top level competition? Does that keep them sharper in the league, or is it just draining for them when they're turning their attention back towards games like Motherwell?
No, I don't think it's training. I think it's what you want. The league's the league. I think it's what the league's the most important thing this year for obvious reasons. But Champions League is what you want to be in. That's what the fans want. It's the best nights. European nights are the best. As a Celtic player, you were judged on European games and Old Firm games when it was Old Firm games. They were a decent side, but I think now it's it seems a far distance from that, in terms of quality to go up against them, and you can see it at certain times there. But as the players' own progression, they want to be playing against the best players. I mean, some of these players have got aspirations to go and play in the English Premier League. There's no doubt about that. That's why there's been a lot of talk about players wanting away, and they only want to be at Celtic for so long before the opportunity to play in the English Premier League, purely because of the league and the contracts that they can get down there. And that's been the case for a number of years. But they have to play against the best players and show that they can handle it against the best players to do that. And that's what Van Dijk's and guys like that have done over the years to get to that level and stay at that level.
Yeah, I've got a very blunt question for you, John. Do you think this current Celtic team is a good team? Because, we've obviously won so many trophies domestically, we've dominated everything. And you saw in Europa League group stage we were a good side last year, but we fail so often in the European stage. Can you actually look at players like Christie and McGregor and the centre backs and say they're good players? This is a good team.
I think they're a good team. I think they let themselves down. I think there's no doubt about that. But I think they're better than what they showed on Wednesday, and I think for me it was just the case of getting a little bit of the team selection. I agree with Jackie. I mean, I would have much preferred to see a central striking force. I think it just upsets the opposition defence, and I was a bit disappointed with that. I think this is a good team, though. I mean, a lot's been said about the quality of the players in the wake of this, but this is still a good team who, if they get to the Europa League group stages, I would expect to qualify from again. And they're the top seeds in these qualifying processes, and it's just a shame that, again, they've let themselves down because of individual errors, like we say, but bounced back against Motherwell. I was happy with the performance. Jackie Ayeti was ruthless in the box with his finish. Klimala missed a few chances. Do you think either of them are ready to start matches? I know we've been talking about match fitness. Do you expect them to see either of them in the starting 11 after the international break?
Yeah, they should be. They should be. As I said, I did half expect one of them to start against Motherwell. I was a bit surprised it didn't, but yeah, as I said, they'll be desperate to play the players to get, you know, that opportunity. Klimala will be, I think, I'd imagine he'll be the most disappointed, you know, that he's not started one of the games. Maybe that's why he missed the opportunities against Motherwell, the 1v1 with the keeper. You know, his confidence maybe taking a little dent, you know, for not, you know, getting the start that he wanted. But he has to produce. You know, the best way to answer is by putting the ball in the net. Jetty done that, you know, twice now. Done it when he came on. You see a difference. Klimala done it against Hamilton. But when he gets other opportunities, he has to take it and ask the questions and show why he should be starting.
Yeah, positive stuff. That's your lot for today on the channel. Big thanks to Jackie and John for joining me. Needless to say, there'll be far more to come on the channel over the next week or so. If you don't want to miss out on any of that, just make sure you subscribe. Click the subscribe button, the alarm bell next to it, so you don't miss out on any future videos. Until then, take care and hail hail.